What's up, Movie Meals? Movie Meals!
What's up?
Woo! We have a special guest. Special guest, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Carson, and I'm super pumped to be on Movie Meals. I'm really hungry.
Well, what are you eating today?
I'm eating a cheeseburger from an undisclosed location. I'm really excited for it.
No product placement. I
Really
got
excited.
pizza,
I did too.
and we're ready to talk about Batman.
The
Superman.
I got
That
the
was
lame
not
part.
playing.
I got the lame part of that.
Just glad I didn't mess it up.
I just realized.
All right, we're here to talk Batman v Superman. Very controversial film. People are not digging this. Critics are not digging this movie, man.
Audiences are, critics are not. What's the deal?
Exactly.
We're about to tell you, aren't we?
All right, so we're going to run down some positives, some negatives, address a few other things, and then give it a score out of 10 as we do here on Movie Meals. I think, should we let our special guest go first?
Yeah, Carson, if you would like to start,
Oh,
That and I
would.
want to eat.
take away the
All
show.
right,
man.
and we're doing. That means it's time to start.
It's
Let's
time
do
to
it.
start.
Let's go.
Start.
All right. So for me, good parts of the movie. Ben Affleck crushed it as Batman. Batman and Bruce Wayne.
I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. 100%.
I was particularly pleased with his Bruce Wayne. Really good.
He might even be the best one. I mean, it's only been one movie.
Yeah.
but
I think he's the best Batman and Bruce Wayne overall.
Yeah.
From any of the films.
Definitely, yeah. Jeremy Irons was also really good as Alfred.
perfect casting.
Pretty close to Michael Caine. I would say probably a little better.
I
than
liked
Michael
him
Caine
more
for
than
me.
Michael Caine.
His
Yeah.
Alfred reminded me a little bit of like the MI6 Alfred that you got in the comic books, as well as the Alfred in the animated series back in the 90s.
He's a
When
big
you
A.
have that snarky conversation between, or those snarky conversations between him and Bruce Wayne, it reminded me back of the series, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. It's a different kind of Batman, but there's
Yep.
still resemblances of past Alfreds as well.
Yeah, their chemistry was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, another good thing, Gal Gadot, or Gadot,
I think
as
it's Gadot.
Wonder Woman was a
It's Gadot.
pleasant surprise for me. That was one of my worries kind of coming in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she pulled it off. She did a pretty good job, so I'm excited to see her in the future. See how that goes. Action scenes in the movie. Snyder still knows how to do action. That's a good thing. As far as some other stuff, we'll talk about that in a little bit, I'm sure. Those were my main good sides of the movie. You guys
wanna
want
go
to chime
back-
in a little bit?
I want to go back to the Wonder Woman thing because I agree. She surprised me a lot. I really enjoyed her performance in this. I think there's an agreement though that a little bit of her lines were a bit wooden.
Yeah,
I
A
noticed-
few of them are delivered a
We
little
saw
bit
this
bad.
twice. I noticed it a little more in the second viewing, mostly because I was enthralled by Wonder Woman actually being on the big screen, so I really wasn't paying attention the first time.
Yep.
But the second time, that has me a little bit worried. But I hope that in the Wonder Woman movie, there's whatever director that is will able to have her
can't
perform a little
remember
bit
who it
better. But I think her screen presence as Wonder Woman was really what was making me excited for it.
The only lines I thought were wooden were during the big fight. When she was like, oh, this is a spoiler review, by the way. All spoilers are allowed. We're talking pure spoilers here. The fight where she's like, why did you draw him back to the city? It's like, all right, Gal Gadot. Like, we're...
Yep.
Let's go to acting school a little bit more. And I like her, but she's making me excited for the standalone movie because her fight against Doomsday is amazing. Cheers, man. She was
kicking
so
butt.
good.
Yep.
And she was really good as Princess Diana.
In the little snippets.
The
we got,
little
I
snippets
mean,
talking to Bruce. I really
Yep.
liked their, oh, you've never met a woman like me stuff. And I enjoyed her. That's
Yeah.
my chime in there.
She had that charisma when she wasn't actually Wonder Woman, where she's like, she had that thing where it's like, dude, this chick's like, she's tough. Like, something's
She's
up,
tough.
and like, yeah,
she
she's
doesn't
confident.
take crap from anyone.
Yeah.
Confident. Yep,
You
that's a
see her,
good
you're just
word
like,
for it.
man, that's a bad chick right there.
Makes you excited for her standalone film.
Yep.
And since we're talking about characters, one of my positives was Superman. I mean, I don't think they delved into the character as much as they could have, which is kind of a problem for me. But, I mean, Henry Cavill, I think, delivers as Superman. I think he is a good Superman. Whether the writing of his character isn't as great, I think he tries in his performance, and I think it succeeds.
So, all right. So, what are the positives we all have? We all kind of like the characters here. We liked him. All right, let's just talk about a few more of the characters then, and then maybe we can bounce around to some other positives.
Yeah.
Since Carson's gone over his.
Yep.
So we talked about Superman. I also enjoyed Superman. I don't think they didn't give him incredible, emotional scenes to work with here, but we know Henry Cavill can do that. If you've seen his other films, you know he can do that.
Yeah.
But I liked him overall. He wasn't the standout because Batman's the standout in this movie. I really do think. Now, let's talk about a very, very character that's dividing people, and that's Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal. What did you guys think of Lex?
Okay, Kyle.
I'm very split down the middle on Lex Luthor, I decided. On the one hand, there was moments where it showed like a dual personality of the Lex Luthor that you see in public, that, is nice, is kind, shows that he's intelligent, shows that he's trying to help the world. But at the same time, you see the other side of Luthor, which shows that there is some evil, there's some darkness within him, that he is a guy that you probably do not want to mess with. Still the smartness, but only in the more evil terms. And I like that they were actually peeking into that. I like that they were showing like a hidden character of Luthor within like an outer personality, like a facade of Luthor. So I think that part did well. What I'm not enjoying though was his performance, or at least the performance that we have seen thus far in most of the scenes that we have seen. There was at times where it was a little cartoony, and then there was times where it was just his acting was just all over the place to me. Like it got confusing after a while, and like what he is trying to pull off here. Is he trying to act creepy? Is he trying to act mad? Is he trying to what? I didn't understand in his acting what he was trying to do. I think Jesse Eisenberg is a great actor, but I'm not sure if I liked most of his scenes as Luthor, though. I'm not sure how I felt about them. While I liked that they were at least trying something with Luthor, with the dual personality thing, I don't know how well it was pulled off.
Yeah, I mean, so kind of what I thought of when I walked out of this movie and I was thinking about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I thought it reminded me of what Heath Ledger tried to do with the Joker. He tried to bring in his own style, kind of do his own thing. With the Joker, and the way he did it, it really worked. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, on the other hand, not so much. I feel like he tried to bring his own thing in. It was different, and people are saying, it's not actually Lex Luthor, it's his son. I think the character would have benefited a lot more if he would have tried to be more, do the more typical Lex Luthor that we all expected. He had some moments in there where, I'm kind of with Kyle, I'm split down the middle. There's things I liked, things I didn't like. It didn't bring the movie down too bad, but it didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah.
So, something this man brought to my attention is that originally Zack Snyder wanted the Riddler and the Joker in this film, and they were actually going to cast Jesse Eisenberg as the Riddler.
And by the way,
I did not know that either. Tidbit for you.
Before that, what do you guys think about that casting?
I actually think he would have been a neat
I
choice of a Riddler.
And especially with the way Jesse Eisenberg acts in most of his characters, I think that would have been a little bit better as the Riddler than as Luthor.
But here's the thing.
Yeah,
I liked him as Luthor. And the thing I have this weird thing about Luthor. Okay, I understand at the beginning he's kind of like, all right, what are you trying to go here? You seem Riddler-esque to me. He seems kind of, quirky, weird, kind of fast-talking dude, which is something Jesse Eisenberg always plays. But and then something I've been telling this Kyle over here, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him about it, but the hair. Fans went nuts after that first image came out and he was bald, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're getting bald Lex Luthor. And then he had hair in the first trailer, and everybody's like, what? I think the hair is a metaphor, in a way. I don't think, because at the end he gets it shaved, and he only has one scene where he's actually bald.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's fully Lex Luthor yet. I think he's a genius on Earth. He's smart, but it isn't until that scene where he is about to officially, or he goes into the ship, and the ship says, would you like to take command? And he says, yes.
Ship, yeah.
And then the Kryptonian ship says, we have over 10,000 different planets of knowledge you can learn from. And he says, all right, perfect, teach me. That's when I think he starts to become Lex Luthor, because he's starting to learn about, he's a genius on Earth, and then you're giving him all this knowledge from all these other, worlds. I think then he starts to get more calculated, and he turns more into the Lex Luthor. And I think he knows what's coming in Darkseid, and that's why he does the whole you can't unring the bell thing, and he's kind of going crazy, because I think he's slowly forming into the Lex Luthor we know from the animated movies and from past films that we love. And I think we need to give him time. I think he's going to be in Justice League, and I think he won't have a big role, but I think we're going to see more of the real rich Lex Luthor that everybody wants. That's what I think. So I understand I was a little bit bothered by him at the beginning, but I really liked him at the end. And that final scene I really liked of him talking to Batman and Batman just ready to brand him. I liked it.
I think because like he could tell like he was a little scared. Like he's not unafraid of these guys. He was like, oh crap. So he's afraid of these guys, but like
he also knows what's coming.
But he's a threat now. Yeah, that's what he's saying. That's when he became like a real threat. That's a good point.
I do like that you brought up that he knows what's coming, because you and I were talking about it earlier, and what we're coming up with is that we think that Lex Luthor knows about Apocalypse. And for those of you that don't know what Apocalypse is, it's the home planet of the evil Lord Darkseid. He pretty much is in
the
deep
name
control.
of the planet, not to be confused with X-Men's Apocalypse character.
Yeah. So Darkseid rules Apocalypse. He wants to pretty much take control of every life on every planet.
He's like the Thanos.
Yeah, he's almost like the Thanos
DC
of the
world.
Avengers.
Yep,
universe,
pretty much. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there was a lot of teases in that movie, and I think that some of it worked, some of it didn't work. And I think the scene that you were talking about when he's on the Kryptonian ship and he says, "Teach me," I think that you're right. He does learn about Apocalypse. He does learn about Darkseid, and I also think that because at the end, at this jail scene where he makes the ding, he goes ding, ding, ding. That's the sound that a mother box makes. And what a mother box is that it is a device that opens up boom tubes, which are pretty much teleportation devices that are used on Apocalypse. Like, they come from Apocalypse.
So, for the people who don't know comics as well, so basically what the mother box is it's just a way to kind of jump from one planet to another, in a sense?
Yeah, it's pretty much,
Like a
think of
wormhole.
it,
Yeah.
think of it as a remote to control a portal.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. See, yeah, I think I'm not hating the character to the point where it's like I want to see him as Lex Luthor. It was a horrible casting. I was interested in his decision to want to see more.
It was an interesting take. Yeah, interesting take for sure.
All right. Why don't we hit up some more positives? We've heard all
All right.
Carson's. Kyle, what's some of yours? Do you echo any of Carson's? You got new ones? What do you got?
The fight scenes. I mean, the second half of the movie elevated more than the first because of the two fight scenes. The fight scenes were blowing me away. I mean, never did I imagine that I could see Batman fighting Superman on the big screen. Never did I imagine seeing the Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, fighting against Darkseid on the big screen. And Zack Snyder delivers on that. We said so in our Man of Steel review. Zack Snyder is wonderful with action scenes. Like, that is his, like...
He chooses style over substance.
That
He
is
said it
his
before.
go-to thing. He does it well, and I love Zack Snyder for the fight scenes.
Yes.
Because
I agree with
they
that.
looked awesome. I thought that they were well done. Choreographed, beautifully shot. Cinematography is another positive we'll get into, of course. So, yeah, I was blown away by that.
I mean, I echo everything. The fight scenes, I actually really like most of the performances. I thought everybody did their job, and I do think Ben Affleck is, the best Batman we've ever had. Best Batman / Bruce Wayne. I think I'm so excited for this Batman solo film. He just beats the living crap out of people. I am so excited. Why don't we, we've talked about positives. Why don't we switch over to the negatives?
Oh, real quick, sorry.
Here we
One
go.
more positive that I do have that I do really want to talk about. The introduction of the other superheroes to make up
Yes,
Justice League.
good call.
Because I think that was one of the best scenes in that movie, and I also think it was one of the best introductions to other characters within a superhero universe.
I'm kind of, I'm not sure yet, but I'm to the point where I think it is the best introduction of other heroes in a film. I thought it was such a unique way of Batman saying, hey, I've seen these people, I've seen this file I stole from Lex. We need to bring them together. We need to do this. Sends it to Gal Gadot so Wonder Woman knows. Like, I loved it. What, your take, Mr. Carson?
That's where the bad starts for me.
Really?
You
That's
didn't
where
like
the
it?
So
Ooh, debate time.
I felt like all of the Dawn of Justice stuff in this movie was so shoehorned into there.
Nope.
I
Nope,
felt
I'm
like
out.
It was so shoehorned.
It's
'Cause-
called Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was good, but I felt like it would have felt so much better in its own movie. That's how we can get started. Like a whole bunch of other different things in this movie, Bruce Wayne sending this stuff to Wonder Woman, like, who are these guys? I felt like I would feel like he'd be more focused on fighting Superman, and that's just, I felt like it was really out of place. It was cool, seeing all those, they did a really good job of showing you what they were like and stuff. But I feel like it was really I felt out of place to me. I don't know.
That's what I liked about it, though, mostly, was that we got peeks of them and we got to see what they were like.
Yeah, we got to see Barry Allen, being like, I'm not going to let this dude rob this guy. He does his thing. Aquaman looks fantastic.
He was my
no matter what,
my
Aquaman
favorite
looks
one
amazing.
of the three that they showed.
And the Cyborg thing just was like, that's a horror standalone film.
Cyborg was cool.
Cyborg
was
I'm
really
still nervous
cool.
about Cyborg. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, I like the character Cyborg. I'm not a huge fan of the idea of a solo movie. I know why they're having him in the Justice League. I don't think that it's needed, though. I'd rather have a different character. And I think the introduction that they showed, it was true to the comic books, but it wasn't what... It was a little boring to me for the most part. I do think also that, going back to the Mother Box thing, I think what the Doctor of Star Labs had to help create Cyborg...
You think that's what that was?
That
it's a box shape, and it was moving, and it was doing funny
Cyborg
things.
probably is... is going to be the
like
one
the key
to
to
know.
Yeah.
So this is a good
Plus,
transition into...
Cyborg could also know about Darkseid through the Mother Box.
Yeah.
So this is a good transition into one thing that I guess we could still talk about in positives. Is I really like the dream sequences with Batman, where he's in the desert and stuff. And the thing I really liked was that moment of...
More nods to Darkseid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Throughout that whole dream
But I
sequence.
really liked that scene with the Flash. Because I'm pretty sure that was the Flash.
Yeah, I would...
Talking to him.
Because he has the ability to go back in time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yes,
So I don't know.
Can.
Yeah, so I think that's what he was saying. He's going back in time and like, dude, like, you were right. Like, it's about to go down.
I think maybe that Mother Box thing is making me change my thing. Because Kyle and I here have gotten into debates on that suit. Because the suit is very mechanical. Because it does look like that's Ezra Miller. And it does look like that's the Flash. And it's a very mechanical suit. And
Ezra Miller plays the Flash in future movies, by the way, for those
and
that
we've
don't know.
seen the old school. We've seen in an image with Zack Snyder in the background. There's the
old
traditional
school
Flash costume.
Yeah.
So maybe Cyborg knowing if that is a Mother Box, maybe Cyborg builds it instead of Batman. Maybe Cyborg builds him this thing, and he says, "Hey," because I think those visions, those dreams, I think those are projections into the future that will come if Superman or Batman doesn't bring the Justice League together and doesn't fight Superman. Because in the scene, the Flash says, "You were right about him. You need to fight him. You need to find us. You need to do all of this." And I think I like that tie-in as well. I thought that was a great time because I think it'll make sense with Justice League if that is true, and that is the Flash actually going back and speaking to Bruce. I think that's a really cool way to tie the two movies in together and give justification to this movie in a lot of scenes and a lot of things that happen, like this movie did for Man of Steel.
Are we deciding that this is a dream sequence, or are we saying that this is a look into the future?
I think it's both.
He's dreaming, but he's dreaming into the future. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. No, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. I mean, I do like that scene. I just don't know. I think I need to see the Justice League movie. I think if I see the Justice League movie and if they tie it in well with Batman v Superman, I think that'll make me a little better. But for the time being, it just feels like they're not quite sure what this is. I'm not quite sure what this is yet. So I mean, it looks cool. It was well done scene.
Are we all hyped for Justice League? Can we all agree on that?
yeah, of
that
course.
this movie
Yeah,
still hyped us for Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That scene just, I don't know. I'm just a little nervous on what it means, and I don't know what it means, and I guess that's what's bothering
A lot of
me.
speculation.
So it's
a lot of speculation.
more of a personal thing, I guess. if
Yep.
any.
It's gonna be fun to talk about for the next year.
For sure.
Yeah.
Till Justice League.
No
Yep.
kidding.
All right, let's get into negatives. We have rambled on for a long time about these positives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get to negatives. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
All right, let's hear it.
Writing wasn't that good. I mean, except for the Batman's lines. The Batman lines were awesome to me. Whenever Batman was on screen, whatever he was saying, I was on board with. The other lines, though, were not hitting up to par. It felt like there was two different writers working on the script, and one was only working on Batman, the other was working on the rest of the film. And I don't know, it kind of took you out. I felt like the writing could have been a lot stronger in this.
I agree.
Both dialogue and story for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I think the writing. What it was kind of sad. It affected the Batman Superman, the whole conflict they were having for me. Like the fight when it did happen was so cool. Mm-hmm. It was so awesome. But part of me was like, so why are they why are they fighting again? I mean, like, I get it, but it's
That's
like
one of my negatives
yeah,
too.
it
They
didn't-
never had a conversation being like, all right, Bruce, stop hitting me for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to tell you this.
Felt like
And
the
when they
stakes
do
weren't very
have that
high.
conversation, it's not even much of a conversation.
No.
I mean, when Batman's beating Superman, he just goes, Martha, Martha.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's not a moment in there where the writing takes a pause to go, okay, let's talk about this, what's going on.
Yeah.
But instead it just jumps to him going, oh, our moms have the same name? Perfect, let's be friends.
But remember, that's us looking at it analytically, because the fanboy knows that was the best way, like, really the only
fanboy-
way to get
fanboy.
Superman and Batman to fight.
Fanboy me was blown away, well, not blown
The
away,
fight was
but
really
was
cool.
like shocked that I didn't make that connection, that both them have the same names for their moms.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
But analytically, it needed to be stronger, and that was because of the writing. The
Yeah.
writing wasn't there, so
Mhm.
that way it would make more sense instead of them just going, oh,
Yeah.
okay, fight's over, we have the same, our mothers
Yeah.
have the same name, let's be friends.
Here's the thing I was thinking. I don't think the writing is just, you know, a pile of poo. I don't think it's that
No,
bad.
it's
It's not bad as other things. I think the
But you
biggest
can see
problem
the-
is the editing. And I
Yeah.
think it's the way it's edited is the biggest problem, especially in the first little bit. Because in the first little bit, there are scenes you do not need, and it feels like
Yep.
4 separate stories.
The first...
The whole movie felt like that.
Example,
for me.
An example of that would be the first dream sequence when when
Yep,
Bruce
that
Wayne
didn't
is
need
at
to
his
be there.
parents'
With the jump scare.
yeah, with the jump scare, and he's at his
Yeah.
parents' tombstone, and all of a sudden the
Yeah.
jump scare of Darkseid Soldier
Well-
just pops out. That's not necessary.
Well, like the scene at the beginning to make, you know, Superman, you know, look like a killer as a sting. It's set up that way.
I was
It's
ready to go after that scene. I was like, man, this is
that's
See, I like
but-
that. I like
yeah,
that scene a
really,
lot.
yep.
But
Yeah.
then you didn't need 3 separate scenes of Lois trying to figure out where this bullet came. It was
Yep.
literally walked into
Oh
the
my
bathroom. Where's this bullet? I can't tell you that. Next scene in the rain. I have nightmares. Tell me about this bullet. Okay. Next scene by a river. All right. The bullet was Lex Luthor. You could have done all of that in one scene.
That whole-
and because of that bad editing, it made the Lois Lane scenes not
Yeah.
that good, and it just made them feel like
See,
a waste.
I liked when he saved her, and then they came back and had that discussion, and she's
Yeah,
in the bathtub.
but
I
then-
like that, and then they just took Lois off to Nowheresville.
Yeah, Holly
Yeah.
Hunter as the senator is unnecessary.
Doesn't even
No.
need to be in the movie.
Nope.
No, it's all set up for Lex Luthor's character.
That's the other
But
story.
because of the problems with the writing and the story,
Mhm.
is that it adds a character that's not needed.
It feels like, all right, now we're here, now we're here, now we're here, now
Yep.
we're here, now we're here, and it's not like, all right, we're starting at A and we're going to Z. I feel like once they all come together and Batman and Superman start fighting, it feels more cohesive and more of a story because it's all right, we fight, we do
And that's
this.
because that's Zack Snyder's avenue is the fight
Yeah.
scenes.
But you
Yeah.
also
And you can tell like that's what
and he
was
put a
preparing
lot
for
of
this
passion
movie
in it
for.
because he's
Absolutely.
a fanboy. He's a
Yep.
gigantic comic fanboy.
And props to him for doing that. I was happy for that.
You didn't. I don't even think you need some of the Batman scenes. I didn't need
A
the
couple-
Batman scene in the. I mean, it was a cool shot of him as the Bat in the corner with the police officers.
Oh, with the
didn't need it.
with the women
Unnecessary.
with the
Didn't-
women trapped in the
Yeah,
basement. That
there were
scene.
so many scenes you didn't need. You could have expanded on different things. Add more
Mm-hmm.
conversations with like Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. Do stuff like that. Give us a
Yeah.
little bit more substance. And you know, back to the Batman was any line Batman gave. I actually thought was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And there were reports coming out that Ben Affleck, because they brought in the writer of Argo, the Oscar-winning writer, I think winning or nominated,
Yeah.
of Argo, who's great
won
friends
Best
with Ben Affleck.
Director.
Yes. No, not best director.
They didn't?
Ben Affleck directed it.
Yeah,
Argo.
I'm saying the movie won best director,
Best
not
picture.
for writing.
Good
Best
writer.
picture. It
Good
was-
writer.
Yes, it was best picture, not
Anyway,
best
it's a
director.
good movie.
writer,
Go
good
It's a
watch
great
it.
movie. He's a fantastic writer. He came in and reworked some of the screenplay, and I think you can tell that. You can tell where it's different, and mostly Batman things. And Ben Affleck changed a lot of Batman's line. Not entire scenes, but he was
Yep.
like, I think in this line, Batman would say this instead of this. And Zack Snyder, we've talked before, is the type of director to say, great. Like I want to collaborate with
Let's
you,
do it, yep.
and you can tell like just every scene with Batman where he's talking to Alfred or he's talking to even when he talks to Superman,
It's gold.
it's so
Gold.
good. And here's the thing though that makes me excited because all right, one of my biggest negatives is I'm not sure I want Zack Snyder back. I
Yep.
love Man
I
of
was gonna hit
Steel.
on that.
I'm not sure yet. If he comes back, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's like Michael Bay coming back for another Transformers. Crap. But I won't be as excited. But this gives me a little bit of hope is that Chris Terrio, who wrote Argo, who only did part of Batman vs Superman, is writing the entire script for Justice League Part 1.
I thought I've heard that they're only doing part 1. So I'm
Yes,
not
he's only doing Part 1.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
But that makes me excited because the scenes he wrote in this and the scenes he's written in other movies before are great.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I want Here's what I want for Justice League. I want the Zack Snyder fighting scenes. I want that look. I want that style. I want that cinematography. I don't know if I want him as the director.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like there are.
And that stinks because I mean, that means you either get him or you don't.
Or
Yeah.
at least find an editor that can,
And I'm sorry, you can
fix the
continue.
problem.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to choose, like I told you before, if I had to choose like substance over like visuals, like Zack Snyder does, I would take a guy who can do substance and sacrifice like maybe not quite as amazing action scenes. 'Cause, like I felt like the action scenes like they were really cool, but like they had no weight. So I mean, there was the stakes were very high. Yeah, so yeah, I'll be interested to see how much involvement Schneider has from here on out, especially after the reception that this movie's received and the mixed one that Man of Steel received.
One
we
thing-
all know how you guys feel about Man of Steel.
Love Man of
Good
Steel.
movie.
It's good. Yeah.
One thing though is that we were just talking about this before we began filming, is that Batman v Superman this weekend made $420 something million worldwide.
Amounts of money.
Made a little bit more than double its money it cost to make the film, which means it made money.
Yep.
And the studios, they don't give a flying fladingle about Rotten Tomatoes scores and the critics.
Nope.
They care how much money's coming in. There's a reason Transformers movies are still being made, because they're making money. So if they're like, oh, Zack Snyder wants to do it and he's the guy that's bringing us all this money, Zack Snyder's going to do the next one.
And I hope that Warner Bros. Realizes that while we're excited for these movies to continue and we're glad that it's making the money that's making the show that we want to see more of these movies, I hope that they look at this and they realize there needs to be some substance. There needs to be...
Maybe that's
There
part
needs
of the
to be-
reason they brought in Chris Terrio to write it, because he can write substance better than the guy they got before.
I think they're smart enough to realize that they're good movies. Batman versus Superman. You put that title on anything, you're gonna make tons of
Although,
money.
one thing people need to
Sorry.
realize is we were looking at the writers, and the other guy who wrote the screenplay for who then Chris Terrio made some edits to for Batman vs Superman, wrote Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises, and Man of Steel. So people who are blaming a lot of this on the script, just be aware that you're also saying get rid of that screenwriter, which you also wrote the one, for The Dark Knight, which everybody universally loves.
No, that's
So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it wasn't even his fault in the editing room. Maybe he just didn't catch it, but it's the editing that was the biggest problem to me. A little bit better lines overall, and I think Chris Terrio can do that. But if he can learn from his mistakes, I'm fine. If he can listen to what people are saying, and I think Zach might be the type of guy to do that.
Yep.
I think it would be interesting to see what he would do again. But I also do think he's staying on for part one. I think he's already started post-production or pre-production.
Should start in a couple of days,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
A lot of potential. A lot of potential with this movie, but not
There's
all
a
of
lot
it was
riding
realized,
now.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Here, let me spin the question to you guys. If Zack Snyder leaves, or if he just doesn't do part two, who do you want to come in and take the
Oh,
reins?
you can't do that to me.
We're doing it while filming. They got to think. You know what every DC fanboy is going to be yelling?
Joss Whedon.
Christopher Nolan.
Oh, that
I don't
makes sense.
see
Everybody
him
would
coming
want.
in.
I don't think Chris
I don't see
Nolan
him.
wants to
No,
come back,
He's
and
on
I
to-
don't think
he's on
Joss
to do
Whedon.
He's on to do other things.
Joss Whedon. The only thing I could see him doing is if for Wonder Woman 2, they're like
He didn't
want
wanna
him
do Wonder
because
Woman
he
movie. He was working on a
loves
script for it
his
a while
strong
ago.
female characters.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to see
for-
Kevin Feige. I just want to take over the whole thing.
Director?
Yeah.
Best producer at Marvel.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably the best producer right now in the
Oh,
entire
jeez.
Hollywood
That's
system.
tough, man. I can't think of... Not off the top of my head.
No, I
anyway.
would need time.
I wouldn't
Especially
mind-
video-
Especially
another
for
video
a
time.
property I
Yeah.
love so much and want it to be handled so well, I can't think
Here's
of...
my pick. If Episode 8 is as good as I think it is,
Episode 8?
yep, of Star Wars Episode 8,
sorry.
I want Rian Johnson to do it because I have seen his Dark and Looper, and I love Looper.
Oh.
Looper, go check
And
it
he
out.
did work for Warner Bros,
And
right?
he's done stuff with
Yeah.
them, and I think he would be a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
my
fair, yeah.
my pick. After, I want to hold that until I see Episode 8, because if he screws that up, not only will he probably get murdered by Star Wars fans, he's probably not going to be getting a big movie for a while. So, all right, wrap-ups, and then let's give it a score out
Wait,
of...
wait,
I got
before-
one
I
more.
do-
Yeah, I got
yeah,
one more thing I want to
one
say
more
after you-
thing.
after
Look
you.
at this!
One more thing.
Let's hear it.
About the director. I think I'm curious to see what Ben Affleck would do in a role in a directing or a role for one of these movies.
It's
I
gonna be
think
for
he's
He's
gonna
Batman.
do
expressed
Batman.
interest. Yeah.
I think he's going to do Batman.
If he does a good Batman movie, I'd be excited to see him do like
He-
a bigger like a Justice League or
A
something.
couple of days ago, he came out saying that he and Jeff Johns, who
Yep.
is who was a comic book artist at DC Comics,
Yep.
he and him are working on a script for Batman together. So
I'm
it's in
excited.
the works.
I would.
I don't know
And
if
you
he'll
can't
direct.
complain about Ben Affleck writing the script because he also has
Oh,
an
no.
Oscar on his mantle
Yeah.
for writing.
Yep.
Exactly. I mean,
Guy's incredible.
I
Guy's
agree. Like, I
incredible.
wouldn't mind seeing him in
Yeah.
other movies
Mhm.
of the DC world. But
I want to.
I mean, for a Batman movie, I'm on board.
Yeah, of course.
See,
It
I'm
couldn't be
really
backed up.
excited to see the Suicide Squad movie coming up because to see,
Yes.
I mean, there's the glimpses we've had of this Joker. If he is as good as what a lot
How
of
cool
fans
was the
think
Robin
of,
costume on the screen?
Oh,
yeah,
Like that.
Just
I saw that and I'm like, I
jokes
want to
on
see
you.
that
That's
movie.
like-
I want to
that's
see
like
that.
I
movie.
want to see
That's
Jared
fanboy
Leto
gold.
beating Jason Todd to death, like
If
in the
that's-
comics,
if that
and I
scene-
want to see Batman break down at that. I want to see when he became this grizzled one in Batman v
If that
Superman.
scene is at the beginning of Suicide Squad, I will lose my mind.
I think it's going to be the Harley Quinn transformation.
Probably,
Is what
but
I
I
think is
mean,
gonna
if
be
they
the
start
beginning.
with that and connect it between the two movies, oh man,
Yeah,
fanboy
But can we
tears.
imagine a Ben Affleck directed with that Batman we have with a Joker we think is going to be, which has the potential to be better than Heath Ledger? Uh-oh. I think I just set the internet on fire right
What
now.
have
Yeah,
you done?
incredible. It's gonna be. It would be awesome. Yep.
Heath Ledger's great, but I think Jared Leto could be better.
Yeah,
Could be.
I'll believe it when I see
We'll,
it.
we'll wait
Yeah.
and see.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah,
Could
let's
be.
calm
Rest in
down.
peace.
No
Rest in
hate
peace.
comments.
Especially
Yep.
Nick. I see
Wait.
my younger brother going, right about now.
Yeah.
Any more final negatives?
I'm good. To go.
I have one more thing.
Okay. All right.
Superman's death.
Oh yeah.
Spoiler alert! Superman dies. We ain't kidding. Goes out Han Solo style.
I mean,
That's the truth.
props to
the truth.
props to DC and Warner Bros for having the
Got the
balls.
cojones.
Do we all agree that this is an ambitious film? They did a lot story-wise
Oh,
in
yeah.
this movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's funny though, because I remember fanboys hearing that Doomsday's in this movie. They're like, no, he should wait, cause they should do a Death of Superman story later down the road. Well, they did it right
We
now,
got it.
guys. So
Yep.
I hope you're happy.
Yep.
I'm not so happy. Once again, like the dream sequence, it makes me confused on what the direction they're
Yeah.
gonna take with this is. And
Too
I think
soon. It's too soon.
And I
Well-
think that they still haven't set up Superman enough
Nope.
to be like a really good character. Like he's a fine character to have right now, especially with Henry Cavill playing him. But I feel like that death just makes the character a little more confusing, and it just leaves us up in the air.
Well, yeah, they didn't set it up enough. There wasn't enough impact for like him dying.
Back
like,
to-
yeah,
back
we
to
weren't,
the story
we
and
weren't
the-
as invested.
Yeah,
I think
back
they
to
killed
story
him
and
off.
the
If
right
we
away.
would have
I
had
agree.
better scenes in the beginning of the film with him, I think it would have hit a little bit more. But I think
Yeah.
their version of making you feel a lot was him being like, "You're my world, Lois."
Yeah.
And then I just like how he jumps in the water, can't swim to the top holding the thing, but he can still fly and stab the kryptonite spear
Good
into
point.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, logical stuff. Yeah. Good point.
Also, I love this in the movie. How they just gloss over kryptonite and they just know everybody knows kryptonite because they never call it kryptonite. They're like, we have this rock that can stop Kryptonians, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything about it, and then Batman goes, Alfred, I'm almost out of kryptonite.
They did that also with a scene between Superman and Batman. I think it was when they're about to fight, and then Batman's in his costume, and Superman flies down, and Superman goes, "Hey Bruce, we need to talk." And I'm just like, wait, how do you know that he's how Bruce Wayne's Batman? Like you never really.
It's
established-
Superman. He knows
I know how he knows.
everything.
No,
At the-
you
at-
could say that for
At
Batman.
Lex Luthor's event, remember he could hear Ben in his earpiece.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you know he's Batman.
I think
I think you connect the dots.
Superman's pretty smart.
Then you
guy.
have a conversation
I don't
with
know.
Batman, and Batman's like, I don't know, we just got a history of
Yeah,
freaks
they'll-
running around like clowns.
No, I don't
Joker!
know. I still feel like that
It was
I-
debatable. Yeah,
it's
that's a good point.
debatable.
Yep.
I just don't feel that.
So I think they'll use Superman's death to kind of as like a Justice League, bring her together.
At least like
That's
it's
what
like
they're
a
gonna use it
stepping
for.
stone for how
Yeah.
like the Justice League will be brought together, because without Superman, like they can't
Yeah.
really, they're not that powerful, so they need all the help that they get. But that's the only good part about it. The rest with Superman's character is what is making me disappointed about that death.
Too soon, DC.
And plus
It
Sure.
was a good way.
Too
I will
soon.
say this: it was a good way to get Batman because Batman has that moment of saying, you know,
Let him down.
I like him now. I've let him down, and I've made him a promise that I'm going to protect people, and I
Yeah.
couldn't protect him in real life, so I'm going to protect him in death.
Yep.
And
Yeah, that part
live
of it
on.
was good.
And Batman knows things like that scene where Wonder Woman's like, "Why did you say we need to get these people together and fight?" And he goes, "Just a feeling." He knows stuff's gonna go down, man. I
Yeah.
think that's the
Yeah.
point. Maybe what we're gonna get is something that might be cool in part one is if we're correct and that dream is a prediction into the future. We might open up Justice League in that future with the Flash going back and we'll follow them for a little bit, and the Flash going back telling him, and then we'll maybe then pick up in events after Superman's death, and then see how it changes.
That would be
an
just
interesting
more jumping
idea.
around. It's just more jumping around.
See, but that would
does
flow
risky.
well
It's
though.
risky,
Does
yeah.
sound cool.
It would
Yeah.
flow though with if they do it well, it would flow having the Flash be that thing that can get you from A to Z. That's the cool thing. That's why Flash is such a cool character, because he has that ability to go through dimensions and time and change things.
Yeah, and I like it when you can see stuff that you've seen in other movies from different perspectives. Like at the beginning of the movie, we saw Bruce Wayne, his perspective of the events from the first movie.
That was smart.
I love that. I'm like,
Yes.
dude, this totally changes.
Although it didn't need to be as long. Like,
No.
it could have been him
Yeah.
turning in the car twice and he's where he needs to be, instead of this 5-minute driving sequence of buildings falling.
But now, like, when I watch Man of Steel, I'm gonna be thinking like, oh, Bruce is on the ground watching this whole thing happen. Like,
He
dude,
flew
this is
in.
gonna get crazy.
That's the cool thing about Batman.
Yeah.
Batman flew in, ran into the storm when everyone's running out,
'Cause that's
trying
what
to
he would
save
do.
people.
Yeah.
Yes! I love Batman!
His first scene was amazing. I was like, yes, and then it kind of went down.
And I actually like
All
the
right.
intro where it was like, all right, fans, we're gonna give you Martha and Thomas Wayne's death, but we're not gonna drag it out. We're not gonna make it a big scene. We're gonna make that the neat little opening credit introduction, and it was shot in a very unique way, and I
It was
liked
shot
it.
well. Yeah, they did a good job with the crime.
And
The Paw Kent scene was pretty good. A little sad.
You know, I didn't think it was needed,
I have to agree with that.
and I thought it was weird.
I mean, I love
a lot
seeing
of
Kevin
plays.
Costner
Yeah.
as Pa Kent. Like, I'm all on
Yeah.
board. They can make a Pa Kent movie and I'm on board. Not really, but
he'd be there to see it though.
It was
But,
sad though. It was sad. It was a good little moment.
I mean,
It's a moment for
touching,
Superman,
but not needed. Could be taken out during the movie.
You can say
It
so much
could've
about
been-
so much
make it
about
less
that
choppy.
movie. So much of that stuff. in
It
this
could
movie.
have been, though, like I miss you real quick. It didn't need to be, when we were on the farm, there was a flood, and then I heard horses screaming, and it came nightmares, and then I met your mother. Like, it didn't need to be all of that. It could have just been, I miss
So
you.
when do you think we're getting that Paw Kent movie?
Oh, 2021.
When we're getting our Aunt
I'm
May
looking forward to
movie.
it now. Looking forward to
Aunt
it.
May movie.
Oh, when they
Schnepp and Ellis are writing it.
when they were.
John
Alright.
Schnepp, Mark Ellis.
Oh man.
All right.
All right.
We got any final thoughts, or are we going to give this bad boy a score?
I
out of
think
10?
for right now anyway, I've said all that I needed to say.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's hit it up. Score out of 10. I am sticking to my guns. I am going to give it a 7 out of 10. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's a little high. 7's a good score. There are problems with the movie. I address those problems. I absolutely hate the editing. I really think it was so poorly edited, and I think that was the biggest problem. But enough, Batman scenes, no matter fanboy or not, they were done well. Overall, the acting, the story, the writing, the dialogue, all of that was great. So I'm going to stick with my 7 out of 10. It's got problems. It's not a fantastic movie. I understand why people are hating on it, but it's not bad.
Good action, a little drawn out, a little too long, a lot of confusing parts, jumping around. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
That's fair.
6.5. Not a great movie. The second time I watched it, I was getting a little bored at parts, which is never a good
Yeah,
thing.
there were moments.
I was
when
initially
that
at
too.
a 7.5, bumping it down to a 6.5.
All right.
That's my score.
Fanboy Kyle enjoyed the heck out of this movie. This is his dream come true waiting to happen. Fanboy Kyle would probably give it an 8 or an 8.5. But if I'm going to be honest, I agree with most of your points. There's some good things, there's some bad things. The bad things are kind of bringing me a little down more than the good things, unfortunately. I think I'll play safe, give it a 6 out of 10. Fun movie to watch, but it definitely has its problems.
But putting your critic hat on.
If I take,
I don't want to, but
if I take,
Gotta do it.
we gotta tell our
Gotta do it.
fans.
If
Gotta
I
tell
take
our
the
fans.
bias a little bit more into how much I really didn't like the editing and the script in different parts, I'd probably stick with 6.5, but it's just every time I think of those fight sequences and Wonder Woman and all that, it makes me, the fanboy bumps it up to a 7. So that's why,
Respect
or
the
I'd,
fanboy.
I'd be,
Yeah.
it's an inner fight of like a fanboy and the guy watching it analytically, and they're fighting each other, and the dude who's
believe
analyzing
me,
it's
Believe
winning.
me, it was a whole
but-
Batman v Superman movie for me doing
Yeah.
that.
The
That's-
fanboy bumps it to me from that 6.5 to a 7 because it was just so much fun to watch those fight scenes, man. Like
Yeah.
because it was a little long, and the second time
It
we
was,
watched it, I was like, until the flashback came up, I was like, all right, we're here. Oh, flashback! And then I like tuned in, and I wanted to know more, and then it was like, okay, flash! Okay. And then the big fight happened, and I was more tuned in because I
Yeah.
loved the fight, and I wanted to see more, but... All right! we are done with our meals. Movie meals is over. Thank you to Carson for coming down.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah,
Oh,
no problem.
anytime.
It was fun,
Dude, that was a
man.
blast.
Yeah.
We had a
Man.
good time. You know, go see this movie in theaters.
Yeah,
Don't
you gotta see it.
It
Gotta
is,
see it.
it is worth seeing in
Yep.
theaters because of the action scenes.
and
Yep.
to
It
watch
being this kind of
Batman
movie.
beat Superman. Batman wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny. They gave you a winner in the fight.
Batman won.
Gave you a winner.
Batman won.
did.
Batman
Hey,
always wins.
was there any doubt? Come on.
It's Batman.
Yeah.
Come on.
Batman always wins.
It's Batman.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, Internet. You can subscribe, like, comment, or do nothing.
Yeah,
Hate
tell
us.
us-
That's fine.
Tell us your thoughts about this movie.
Yeah,
what
what
you
were your
guys
thoughts
think.
in
Your
the
likes,
comments
dislikes.
below.
We would love to hear what you guys have to say.
All right. And all right. Well,
Go check it out.
thanks
Please
for
do.
watching, Mother. It's our only viewer. All right. Love you, people. See you later.
See you guys.
See ya.